Hello class, today we're going to be doing 8-7 factoring and solving trinomials, but this time it's going to be the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Kind of what we've been doing in the past, but we're adding a to the front of our trinomial. It's a slight change, but it's going to make a huge difference in how we factor and solve each trinomial. So before we were seeing what two numbers multiplied to be c and then added up to b, this is going to be a little different. What we want to do is create an x, and then what we're going to do is drop the middle, so b, 29x to the bottom of our x. So 29x. So once we've done that, we want to take the beginning of our trinomial and then c and multiply them. So we can put this in our notes. I'd put multiply. So we multiply 7x squared times 4, and we get 28x squared. Now once we get here, it's kind of like we've done in the past. What two factors multiply to be 28 and then add up to be 29? So factors of 28, we got 28, 1, 14, 2, and we're just going to stop there because we know we have to add up to 29. 28 plus 1 gives us 29. So we're going to put 28 and 1. But remember, they have to multiply to be 28x squared, so we can't forget the x. And we know 1x is just x, so we can go ahead and erase the 1 and just keep it as x. So once we've got this part taken care of, the only thing we care about at this point is right here. The 29x and the 28x squared, we don't have to worry about it anymore. What we want to do is go back to our original trinomial where we have this 29x. We're going to rewrite it just how it is, but instead of putting 29x, we're going to put 28x plus x. Okay? So if we rewrite it, 7x squared plus 28x plus x, and then we have plus 4. Now this is where it's going to get familiar to what we've done in the past, because we're going to put our parentheses around each part, and then here we can just factor out. We're just looking at it, we can factor out the 7 and an x. So we'll have 7x parentheses x plus 4, and then we can just add plus x plus 4. Okay? So 7x times x, we get 7x squared. 7x times 4, we get 28x. And then here's where it gets tricky, because we know right here there is a 1. So 7x times the quantity of x plus 4 plus 1 times the quantity of x plus 4. We want to combine these two to get 7x plus 1. And that's going to be times the quantity of x plus 4. We can go ahead and put parentheses around each of those. So 7x plus 1 times the quantity of x plus 4. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we did in the first example here. Just get more practice so we can get a hang of it. First thing we're going to do, create our x, because we have an a that is not equal to 1. So we're going to drop the negative 3x to the bottom. Negative 3x. Next step, multiply our ends. 4x squared times 5, we get 20x squared. So what two factors multiplied to be 20x squared add up to negative 3x? Well, let's go ahead and look at the factors of 20. 20, 1, 10, 2, 5, 4. And is that it? Now, is there anything we can do with these numbers to equal negative 3? We could also do 20, negative 20 and negative 1, negative 10, negative 2, negative 5, and negative 4. And if you look at these numbers, there's nothing we can do with them to make them equal negative 3. So in this case, we can't have two integers that would make this work. So for our answer, we'll just say prime. this trinomial is prime, and so we can't factor out with integers. Okay, so now we're just going to do another example just to get more practice. First thing we want to do, create our x, drop the bx, so 17x, multiply our ends. 3x squared times 10, we get 30x squared. So now we got to think of two numbers that multiply to be 30, add up to 17. So we know we have 30, 1, 15, 2. We have 10, 3. Now we just take a step back and look. 30 and 1 is 31, 15 and 2 is 17, and that's what we're looking for. So typically we want to put the largest number first, so we'll just do 15, 2. We have the x squared, so we need to be sure to put 15x and 2x. And remember, the only thing we care about at this point is right here. Because we want to use these two, 15x and 2x, plug them in for 17x when we rewrite the trinomial. So we rewrite it, 3x squared plus 15x plus 2x, and then plus 10. It's the same exact thing as this right here. We just separated the 17x into 15x and 2x. So now we put our parentheses, and now we got to factor out the greatest common factor. So here we can factor out the 3 and the x. So 3x, we still have an x plus 5, and then we can factor out a 2. So 2x plus 5. And again, remember, since we have a common binomial right there, x plus 5, we can add these two. So 3x plus 2 times the quantity of x plus 5. And then we can go ahead and put this in parentheses as well. So 3x plus 2 times the quantity of x plus 5. And then that's our answer for this question. If we're just our last example before y'all get started on the practice problems. And this one we're going to factor and solve it. So to begin, we're just going to do like we do normal. Move this 16 over. So we get negative 3x squared plus 26x minus 16 equals 0. And then once we get to this point, we can create our x. First step, move the bx to the bottom. So 26x. Multiply our ends. So negative 3x squared times negative 16, we get a positive 48x squared. Now, we got to think of two numbers that multiply to be 48, add to 26. So we'll go off to the side, 48, 1, 24, 2, 16, 3. We look at what we got so far. 48, 41, and 48 and 1 is 49. 24 and 2 is 26. So now we got what we were looking for. So typically put the largest one first. 24 and 2. Don't forget we have an x squared, so we have to be x. We've got what we're looking for. We'll rewrite our trinomial with the 24x plus 2x instead of the 26x. We're not changing anything, it's the same thing, just a different way of writing it. So negative 3x squared plus 24x plus 2x minus 16 equals 0. Now once we get to this part, put our parentheses. We can factor out. Here we're going to factor out a negative 3x. So negative 3x. We have an x. We're going to do a minus because we need the two negatives to create the positive. Negative 3 times what will give us 24? It's going to be 8. And then we're going to add, we can factor out a 2, which gives us x minus 8. And then it's going to equal 0. Since we both of them have x minus 8, we can add these two together. So negative 3x plus 2 times the quantity of x minus 8. and we can go ahead and put the parentheses around the front. Negative 3x plus 2 times the quantity of x minus 8 equals 0. So just like we did earlier, or the other day, we want to set both of these equal to 0. So here we know what minus 8 equals 0? 8 minus 8. So for one answer, we're going to have x equals 8. Now this one, we want to set up the equation. So we have 3x plus 2 equals 0. We want to subtract the 2 over, minus 2, minus 2. So we have negative 3x equals negative 2. We want to get x by itself, so we'll divide by negative 3. And so we get x equals a negative divided by a negative, we get a positive. So we'll get a positive 2/3. So our two answers, x equals 8 and x equals 2/3. So these are going to be your 3 practice problems for tonight. Number 1 and 2, you're just going to factor them. And then for number 3, you're going to solve. So be sure you create the x, you drop the b down, multiply the ends, and then at the top you want to find which two numbers multiply to be that, and then add to be the bx.